Have you ever looked at an animal and wondered, what would that taste like? Or, can I eat that thing? I'm sure the Chinese do this all the time, but I do as well. In fact, it's the second question that pops in my head whenever I see a new animal. The first is, how the hell does that thing reproduce? Like, do octopus actually use their tentacles? You know, like in those family-friendly cartoons? Moving on. Today, I'm gonna go over national animals that are edible, or actually do get eaten by someone on this crummy planet. Let's first start off with a generic answer. The national animal for the French people is a chicken. To be more specific, it's a rooster. No, seriously, some jokes just write themselves. To this day, I think Brazil put up a better fight against the Germans. On a more real note, who doesn't love chicken? You can have it grilled, steamed, poached, or even baked. My personal favorite, I love fried chicken. Maybe some cornbread, mac and cheese, or collard greens. Oh, and don't forget watermelon slices as a dessert. Bomb! Moving on, let's get into something more exotic and definitely more wild. The Australian man. And their national animal, the kangaroo. Now, me personally, I wouldn't even think about touching these creatures, but we're talking about the Australians here. I've seen videos of them boxing kangaroos, kayaking in the ocean on a plastic tub, going to war with emus, wrestling with crocodiles, and, of all things, even eating Vegemite. Yeah, some real crazy stuff. It's said that kangaroo meat is sold in grocery stores throughout the country. Much like any other meats, it can be prepared as steaks, sausages, and in form of burgers. As for taste, it's supposedly a very lean and chewy meat. Moving on, let's talk about Russia and their national animal, the bear. Now, from what I heard online, most Russians see bears as friends or vodka drinking buddies. If you're Khabib, you actually see them as a sparring partner. Anywho, there are those who will consume the meat in Russia, but I believe this phenomenon might be more prevalent in the US. There was one time I saw a video on YouTube where this American decided to cook some chunks of fatty bear meat in an empty tin can. He of course chewed on the pieces of meat, but he also drank that bear fat straight from the can like it was a milkshake. Yeah, it's really no surprise why people think Americans are overweight. I've also seen an American eat bear poop before. Bro's just asking for tapeworms at that point. As for how it tastes, no, not the poop. I heard bear meat really depends on what the animal's diet consists of. Like if it ate berries, elk, or salmon. My best finding was that it tasted like beef, but sweeter. Fun fact, Russia's neighbor to the south, China, also has a bear as their national animal. The panda, to be specific. And no, you cannot eat that one. I mean, would you even want to try it? They might body slam you, throw a punch, or even grab your pinky and say, skadoosh. The fourth movie sucks, by the way. Anyway, it's time to move on to a great nation. One where the best furniture store to ever exist was created, where the best meatballs are from, and where the greatest YouTuber of all time hails from. The land of Vikings and super duper long last names, Sweden. In this snowy land, they hail the elk as their national animal. Apart from causing numerous car accidents, the elk can carry up to 250 pounds of meat and is often eaten by the locals, especially during the annual elk hunt, where up to 90,000 elks are hunted each year. I can't find an exact description on the taste. Maybe someone can mention it down in the comments. Also, do they make Swedish meatballs with elk? Speaking of balls, let's move on to the country with the best football team on the planet, Spain, and their national animal, the bull. This animal means a lot to the country, considering one of the most iconic events in this nation are bull runs or fights, where a bunch of people try to escape a raging bull or a matador battles it with red cloth and a sword. Funny enough, the first time I ever learned about this tradition was during a classic Tom and Jerry episode. Side note, in my opinion, this is probably the greatest cartoon of all time. Anyway, not sure most people know this, but a bull is actually just a muscular male cow. There's a specific breed used for the infamous bull runs, which also get eaten after being slain by a matador. From what I hear, many turn it into a stew, but the most popular dishes use the oxtail. If Spain ever lets tourists back in, I would love to try. The food, that is, not the run of the bullfight. Sadly, I am an out-of-shape American. By the way, Spain's next-door neighbor, the Portuguese, have quite an interesting choice for the national animal. Why in the world is it an Iberian wolf? I swear, they should have just made it the goat. Moving on to the home of anime, Japan. Based on my research, they boast both the pheasant and carp, specifically koi, as their national animals. I expected koi, but maybe not pheasant. As in other countries, it's a more gamey version of a chicken that can be prepared in almost all of the same ways. Would honestly love to try some fried pheasant. Koi from Japan are the ornamental versions of a carp and likely taste the same. They're far better to keep around for appearance and value. Also, because they control the tide of the moon, and I don't want Avatar Aang turning into a big waterfish again. My first girlfriend turned into the moon has got to be the craziest statement I have ever heard in my life. Interestingly enough, goldfish is actually a type of carp. I mean, that begs the question, has anyone ever tried it? I mean, personally, I've never had a goldfish live past the tender age of 5 minutes. That's rough, buddy. I'd imagine cooking it would take so much effort just to get one bite. I'll just get the cheddar versions for now. Now for some quick fire facts. The national animal of Saudi Arabia is the camel, which they do consume, along with also drinking the milk. Again, I don't know why, but it apparently tastes a lot like lean beef. Maybe drier. Someone can correct me. Over in Mongolia, they not only conquered like 33% of the world using horses, but will eat them as well. Apparently, it has a sweet taste as well. And again, it's like beef or venison. The Bahamas have the blue marlin as a national animal. I'm just gonna assume that that thing tastes incredible. Probably would make incredible sushi. And now for the final segment. What the hell were Wales and Scotland thinking when they chose national animals? A dragon and a unicorn. I mean, do they think we live in a happily ever after universe or something? Is there like a princess to guard or an ogre running around on those islands? I mean, dragon is pretty reasonable to me, but a unicorn is next level. Either way, I doubt either would taste good. Matter of fact, I think the dragon would be doing the eating if anything.